what I had to get was this is some old Avon Soft. I've had this bottle for years. I've got cases of it. Now, I don't even know if you can get it anymore, but we used to use it in the jungles a lot. Somebody's wife sold Avon, so we were always getting care packages that had Avon Soft in it, and so we used the hell out of it. And it worked. They're big bad mosquitoes down there. She could have sent me lipstick and rouge, and I probably would have used that too if I thought it would keep the mosquitoes off. But it got bad down there, so. Alright. Now, I got to see if I can find stuff that's dry. I'm going to have dry stuff. So I'm over here picking up pine straw and stuff off of the picnic table. Good. All this. Need some good splinters. I'll get my feather stick ready. Get it close by. All that's there. Now I'm going to take this knife and I'm going to scrape off a big pile this time. Like I said here, I stay bent over like this. I get aggravated a lot of times just because I'm hurting so bad. But it probably don't take as long as I'm making it take to build a fire using these fire starters. Because I do carry these, have been carrying them for years, but this is kind of a backup. Because I got my basic essentials that I'm always going to carry no matter what, which is my pocket knife, my Leatherman, a lighter, always carry a Zippo, always going to carry a handkerchief too. It's the way I was taught, the way I was raised. That was your basic stuff you always carried everywhere you went. Should be everyone's. And with those items, I can really make do in any situation. But the purpose of all this is to show you all the tools out there, show you all the stuff. I hate to see that people get cheated by buying some of these cheap products sometimes. So I like to test them. I like to show you what really happens. I think I'm going to do something else here, though. I need to get my little cutting board back. I'm going to get way down in this piece of lighted pine here. Get some of this good stuff dry. Take all these curls. Put these curls up here. Well, Kitty, what are you doing? Kitty just laying here saying, play with me. Play with me. Just keeping the mosquitoes off of me is already helping me function better. to the ferro rod. Ouch, it burnt my finger. Nothing else. It will work. This will help you make fire. So as always, I still recommend the magnesium fire starters from Harbor Freight. I still recommend it. That's still a good thing to have in part of your everyday carry. Oh, just gonna let this go, guys. Feather stick in there. And I'm going to transfer this to the big fire pit here in just a minute. What I did is simply just picked up my 2x4. But if you don't have a 2x4, you use bark. You can use whatever to keep it off of the wet ground. And it helps you when everything is so wet. You see, I put all of my lighted pine in there, stacking it up like a teepee. Then the little pine limbs that blow down out here, I try to pick up some of that small stuff that's kind of up off the ground, maybe caught up in the bushes and stuff. They're going to be a little bit drier. And then there's a piece of red oak limb there that blowed down. I put that in there, and I just build my way up from the small stuff to the larger stuff until you get some coals and you get some of this wet stuff to burn. It will eventually burn. Oh, almost lost the camera. I'm gonna try to put just a little bit bigger piece on there. So far, the folding saw, it's done excellent, done great. And I would recommend it. That's one thing that gets my recommendation so far. The next thing, I'm going to get the knife. See the knife? I don't know if you can see it. There's no chips, no rolls, no breaks, cracks. After all that, it's still done great. See a little close up on my X's I filed in it. And it's still pretty dadgum sharp. So, as of now, I recommend the knife. Cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong with having the magnesium fire starter. It will get you out of a pinch. You can get this wet stuff to burn. It just takes a lot of the magnesium, and it just takes time. The little ferro rod on it doesn't throw a huge amount of sparks. That's why most of us, we use the big ferro rods. It's those very, very large ferro rods that we use. go to Bomb-Proof Bushcraft, and Madison has plenty of those. And she gets them from a guy who makes them that he won't exactly tell how he makes them or where he gets them from or what he does. But I'm telling you, they're good ones. Good big shower of sparks. And those big ones always will. The bigger it is, the more sparks it's going to throw. It's just common sense. And so, get you one. Get you one of these from Harbor Freight. It's going to help you out. It's going to help you out in a bind when you're trying to get fire, when it's all wet and it's cold. Sometimes people think I'm weird for doing this, but like all my tools I just had there, I went and I put them back in the little pocket on my chair. I keep it up off the ground. I don't want it to get wet. That's kind of the way I've always done. I kept my gear picked up where it wouldn't get wet all the time. So let me go gather up some more wood here, and I'll be right back. Alright, I just added some bigger pieces. It's all got to kind of dry out. You see, I brought my cast iron Dutch oven out here, and I'm going to season it, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you've seen in some of my other videos how I season, but you don't get to watch me do this when I open fire. Well, I started that big thing there in the house, in the oven, like I've been doing it in the house, and it smoked the house up so bad me and Jippy couldn't breathe, so I decided not to do that one. That thing's so big, it's got a lot of grease in it. So, and this time I'm using a vegetable shortening. And I'm going to try that. I haven't done that before. I've always been told, I've always used nothing but the pure hog lard. So, the way I was always taught. So, that's what I've always used. So, we're going to try something different this time. And we're going to see how it goes. And then I can tell you more about that. Alright, I got the cast iron in there. Fire almost went out on me. I started putting on these big round logs that are wet. Fire was looking pretty good. So I had to put them logs there. Put some more lumber on each side of my Dutch oven to keep it propped up, you see. And that's what I had to do. It's been raining so much here, everything's completely soaked. And making fire in the wet is not easy. A lot of people make it look easy on their videos or on TV or something, but it's not all that easy. I'm telling you. Look at all that smoke. Most of that smoke is the shortening burning I got on there. I don't know if you can see it down in there. Starting to turn brown. That's it heating up. And if it burns a little bit, don't worry about it. I mean, it's gonna burn a little bit. I'm telling you, I'm already seeing the vegetable shortening. I don't like it. It's not as good as lard is, but I think it's gonna work though. I just didn't have any lard this time. Had to go get my pot mitts. These pot mitts here are some not the real cheap ones. These are some more expensive ones. There's leather and like, I don't know, like an asbestos material or canvas material or something on. They're pretty heavy duty. I use these when I'm casting my lead bullets and lead sinkers and all. I'll wear them. And I might have to lift these pots in a minute. See, that one is turning out pretty good so far. Burning on that one side, but I'm gonna have to turn it. So did that pretty good. Sharpen on this knife a little bit. I just like to keep my knife good and sharp. If I have a chance to do it, I'll sharpen it. So far, guys, this knife has really surprised me. I'm not one that likes stainless steel. I just don't like stainless steel. I like the carbon steel. I like a good hard carbon steel. And the stainless steels they're tough, but this one wasn't a great stainless. It's not a really good grade of stainless, but it has been so far easy to sharpen. Wow, and it's surprising me. And it turned out so good. I will recommend it. I might get a few of these and give for Christmas presents this year. The stone has turned out to be a pretty good one too, and I've had several of these stones. I keep one everywhere. I got one in the truck, keep in my bag. I keep one in the kitchen. These are really good stones. A lot of people don't want them. Oh, it's cheap, it ain't no good, but it's been good, you know. People say, well, I don't want it because it gets sway back and it wears out too fast. Well, that's a stone. You're rubbing a piece of steel on it. It's all gonna wear out. And if it's so hard that it's not wearing out, then it's not really putting a good edge on your knife either. Them really, really hard stones, they just don't cut in to the steel and get your knife like you want it. When I was a kid, a lot of people wanted the Arkansas stone. Arkansas stones are hard. I don't like them. I never have. And I'm sitting here sharpening this thing dry too. I'm not using any water. It sure helps a lot better if you use water on it, because it is a wet stone. Going back like a razor again. It is. It is. And a pretty good leather sheath. There is a little bit of there's a plastic liner inside of it. So you don't have to worry about, that you're going to cut through the leather and stick yourself. It's done up really well. I will actually rate this at just as good as or better than the Buck 119. If you notice, I got a piece of parachute cord on there. That's the way I carry it in my vest. I usually don't carry one of these on my belt. I carry it in my hunting vest, and I'll stick it in a pocket, and then I'll tie it down to make sure I don't lose it. I've kind of always done that. I've always carried that way. I just don't like belts. Don't like wearing pants, like wearing overalls. Oh, and I had to say something about this Harbor Freight chair, too. This Sportsman's chair is a really comfortable chair. Really good. And this little table over here, that's where I got the camera set. Over here on the little table. It's great. Oh, look at that sky. Just looking back to the west. Supposed to be a cold front moving in.